TED Talks, brought to you by Erbs and Gerbs. Go online and check out their delightful sandwich menus and soups. Order yourself something today.
Schwerzler from Twins Daily and at TL Schwarz on Twitter, back for another weekly TED Talks. Final day before the regular season episode here. The Twins come into the year, and honestly, this roster is probably the most complete that Derek Falvey and Thad Levine have handed Rocco Baldelli ever. It's deep, it's got top-tiered talent, and the floor is pretty safe. I mean, having a guy like Nick Gordon or Kyle Farmer or even Donovan Solano on the bench is a strong step forward from where the Twins have been recently. The starting pitching depth really has no holes. The rotation itself, while does not have that true ace, most teams in baseball don't have an ace, and the Twins have 5 guys that are probably a 3-starter or better. There's a lot to be excited about this team. I don't think anyone would go into the year saying that they're a World Series favorite by any means, but calling the AL Central anything but a coin flip right now between the Twins and the Guardians is probably a bit off. I think the White Sox could maybe surprise if they can keep healthy and put that roster together. It helps, obviously, that Tony La Russa is no longer there. But this should be a year where the Twins can sustain what they started last year. They were leading the division for the vast majority of the season, and really it was injuries and the lack of depth that got them. Going out and getting a guy like Willie Castro as a non-roster invitee and then putting him on the roster. I mean, he started 112 and 125 games, or played in that many games for the Tigers last 2 years. He's not obviously a superstar by any means, but that is hardly a bad 26 type person to have on your roster. The bullpen is, again, deep. The question marks are probably Cole Sands and Emilio Pagan, but there are options at AAA and below that could definitely pop up and help Minnesota throughout the season. This first month is going to give us a really good taste as to how good this team can be. They start in Kansas City, but they open with Houston at home. They play the Yankees this month. I believe Boston is in April as well. They're going to get tested, and if they can come out of that leading the division or just starting strong, they're going to be in a very good position throughout the rest of the year. And then obviously prospect capital helps them a ton this year. I mean, Royce Lewis is going to be back at some point. Brooks Lee should be an option at some point. Edward Julian had an absolutely amazing World Baseball Classic in spring training. He should help them at some point. And then they have that pitching depth too. Louis Varland, Simeon Woods-Richardson, if Jordan Balazovic can bounce back. There's going to be a lot of talent at AAA this year for the Saints. So watching who could be pushing some of these Twins regulars from just across the river is not a bad plan of attack this year either. It should be a really fun Twin season. It's going to kick off with much nicer weather in Minneapolis, or I'm sorry, in Kansas City than Minneapolis. It's looking like it may be around 40 for opening day, so we'll have to deal with some cold for a little bit, but this roster is absolutely loaded and ready to go. It'll be exciting to see it all come together.